Yeah, hello and welcome to this event titled Between Ritualized Remembrance and Historical Revisionism on the Internet, the Impact of International Youth Encounters. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here today. This event takes place within the scope of the program of IBZ and the Foreign Office with the title Young People Remember. The IBZ and the Foreign Office supports 25 different projects altogether. One of those projects is called Transnational Historical Learning, using the example of the extermination site Malyj Trostenez in Minsk, Belarus. And I'm particularly happy to have some of the participants of this project with us at today's event. So welcome. We will talk about remembrance culture and your projects in more detail later in the panel discussion with Ambassador Michaela Küchler and Dr. Andrea Despot, the CEO of IBZ. I also warmly welcome the two of you, of course, and I will also warmly welcome Michaela Müntefering. She's the Minister of State for International Cultural Policy at the Federal Foreign Office. This event is also streamed via YouTube. Therefore, I would like to welcome everyone joining us online today too. And now we would like to introduce you to Annette Schavan. She was the Federal Minister of Education and Research from 2005 till 2013. Since September 2019, she has been the chair of the IBZ Foundation, and as such, she supports remembrance culture and understanding between nations. Annette Schavan has a few welcoming words for you herself in a short video, which we're going to watch now.
Herzliche Grüße zum Start des Programms Jugend erinnert. Und großer Dank namentlich an Sie, verehrte Frau Staatsministerin Müntefering, dafür, dass das Auswärtige Amt dieses Programm ermöglicht. Die Zeit der Pandemie macht persönliche Begegnungen schwierig, zumal im internationalen Kontext. Wir wissen auch, solche Begegnungen sind durch nichts zu ersetzen. Dennoch hilft uns die Digitalisierung, andere Zugänge und neue Kontakte zu knüpfen und entsprechende Expertise auszubilden. Und das wird bleiben, auch in der Zeit nach der Pandemie. Nicht, um auch dann persönliche Begegnungen zu ersetzen, wohl aber zu ergänzen. Ich freue mich sehr, dass das EVZ-Programm Jugend erinnert auf großes Interesse stößt. Das ist gut so, denn die NS-Verbrechen dürfen niemals vergessen werden. Wir müssen auch heute und in Zukunft uns bewusst machen, was geschehen ist. Wir müssen sensibel sein und sensibler werden für Antisemitismus und Antiziganismus, für Ausgrenzung und Rassismus heute. Das ist der Auftrag an uns heutige, der mit der Erinnerung verbunden ist. Und wir müssen ein Gespür bekommen für die neuen Vorbehalte, die dazu führen. Und Courage dagegen setzen. Die Courage derer, die von der unverwechselbaren Würde eines jeden Menschen überzeugt sind. Ich wünsche Ihnen in den beiden kommenden Tagen gute Diskussionen, einen guten Gedankenaustausch und neue Erkenntnisse. Und ich grüße Sie nochmals herzlich.
Okay. Thank you very much, Annette Schavan. As I mentioned before, the Federal Foreign Office promotes the program Young People Remember together with the IBZ Foundation. The Federal Foreign Office fosters the remembrance of victims of Nazi crimes, for example, by developing and expanding on the use of digital tools. by promoting international projects in this realm. They want to raise awareness for methods and approaches of cultural remembrance. Michaela Müntefering is Minister, as I mentioned before, of State for International Cultural Policy at the Federal Foreign Office. She's very committed to helping young people at finding an individual way to commemorate the victims of the Holocaust, of the Shoah. And she has also a few welcoming words for you.
Yeah, dear colleagues, dear friends, dear Annette, Schavan, dear Andrea, Despot, dear students, and I hope many young people watching online. There is no way one can fully understand or comprehend the Holocaust, this worst crime in the history of humanity. How could people do something like this to other people? How could people get to a point where so many of them allowed such a crime to occur? When I visited Bergen-Belsen as a pupil, I was deeply moved. What I felt that they would remain with me forever, as would the questions. When I began taking an interest in politics, one question became ever more important, namely, how can we learn from history and how can we prevent such a crime from happening again? We have a historical responsibility to address the Holocaust. And I think this responsibility is greater than ever today. I am horrified to see how hatred and anti-Semitism are again on the rise in Europe and in Germany. If today's Jews continue to be persecuted, then this clearly demonstrates how important it is to do an even better job of teaching the lessons of history and to pass these on the next generations. That is precisely what Young People Remember aims to do. I am so glad to speak at this kick-off event today and be witness that our idea has become a program. Through this program, young people get the opportunity to visit memorials and places of remembrance where they can engage in discussions and learn together. And they do so across borders, because even though in Europe we share the experience of the horrors of the First and Second World War, each country has its own culture of remembrance. And the more distant these events become, the fewer survivors there are to answer our questions, the more important are personal exchanges on these issues. It is the only way that mutual understanding can grow and deepen. In addition to visits to memorials, the Young People Remember program includes financial support for many hands-on projects. These also draw attention to not so well known places of remembrance and groups of victims. They also use new formats such as graphic novels, for example. With the Federal Foreign Office, with the federal program, Young People Remember International, we want to make places of remembrance into even better present-day places of learning in and beyond Europe. Memorials should become international places for immersive experiences and exchange, where we can gain and even fuller understanding of what a great accomplishment and gift our present peaceful coexistence in Europe is. Europe as we know it today, as it has emerged from the experience of the Holocaust, can simply not be taken for granted. It is up to all of us to defend these accomplishments by standing up for what we believe in, by taking a strong stand against nationalist tendencies, by actively defending tolerance and understanding, and not accepting insults or threats directed at minorities, those of other persuasions of faith or with other sexual orientations, by opposing all forms of anti-Semitism and xenophobia from the outset. This is the task that history has imposed upon us. And I believe that no history book or classroom-based lesson can teach this as clearly as the experiences one has when visiting a memorial or place of remembrance or when doing a group project. I am pleased that together with the Foundation Remembrance, Responsibility and Future, we are able to select a wide range of projects. And I hope that by engaging with one another in many different ways, both in person and virtual, new bridges can be built between young people in Europe and beyond. I want to thank all partners and everyone involved in this effort. It was quite some work putting together the program Young People Remember, but this hard work has paid off. The project being presented here today that was developed by IBB Dortmund and the history workshop Minsk about the Malyj Trostenez memorial is a good example. Malyj Trostenez was one of the main Nazi extermination camps. Countless Jews were deported to this site near Minsk in Belarus between November 41 and October 42. Many of the deportees were murdered immediately upon arrival. In Western Europe, the history of this mass extermination camp has until the present day remained mostly unknown. So young people will now join forces with experts and historians from Germany, Austria, and Belarus in an effort to change that. I am happy that Young People Remember will help close such gaps in our collective knowledge. History and remembrance may remain open to a variety of interpretations and conclusions, but no one can escape the facts. More than 6 million Jews were murdered. The Holocaust cannot and must never be relativized. I wish all those involved in the Malyj Trostenez project and all of the participants in the other projects every success in this important effort. By working on coming to grips with the past, you are building our future, and I thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for these meaningful words. As you mentioned, one of the promoted projects is titled Transnational Historical Learning, using the example of the extermination site Malyj Trostenez. As you mentioned before, Malyj Trostenez was built in 1942 near to Minsk, Belarus, a Nazi extermination site where Jews from Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, and, for example, Poland were taken by train and shot. It was originally established for Soviet prisoners and members of resistance who were also shot there. Even in Germany, there's little recognition of the many victims of World War II atrocities that took place there. In this project, 15 young people from Belarus, Germany, and Austria work together in workshops and in online meetings. The goal is to develop altogether new transnational approaches, new methods and directions to raise the awareness of young people to the history, to the victims of the Holocaust, the Shoah, to the Nazi crimes. And now we are going to watch a short video which has been filmed by the young participants of this project.
Young People Remember stresses the importance of youth encounters beyond borders at historical sites. At times when anti-Semitism and racist violence, very much regrettably, is on the rise.
Places of remembrance make it easier for me to relate the present to the history.
For me, this is a place that causes a strong shock and where you can feel the power and waste of time and history.
Культура памяті – гэта дыалог пакаленняў, дзякуючы якому сучаснікі вучацца маральным прынцыпам, не забываючы трагедыі мінулага.
This is exactly what was important to me, and that's how an idea turned into a program. Young people remember. The young generation should find access to our history and best of all together across borders. In this way, we strengthen our democratic common sense and motivate an examination of history, remembrance and commemoration. May this also result in engagement for peaceful coexistence in the future.
I want to reflect on the events of World War II and create my own project that would allow other people to feel what I feel in places of memory.
I expect from the internationality of the project to broaden my theoretical and practical horizon.
Furthermore, I would like to compare the experiences during the Second World War of Lithuania and Belarus. Digital memory will enable us to tell the stories not only of such important and famous historical personalities, but also to tell the stories of many simple people who died, like those thousands on the extermination site in Minsk, which is the focus of our project.
Currently, we're facing a caesura of historical, political, educational work. With the help of digital possibilities, it should be possible to reach more people with educational offers.
Тепер активно розвиваються технології, які будуть достосувальні до заховання пам'яті. Наприклад, створення електронних архівних фондів, доступ до яких буде у будь-який час і у будь-якому місці.
First of all, thank you very much for this really great and thoughtful video. Some of the project participants are here with us today, and we'll be discussing this topic with us later on. I would like to let you introduce yourselves to us. What's your name and where are you from? Who wants to start? Maybe Roberta.
Hello everyone, my name is Roberta and I'm actually a participant from Lithuania. However, at the moment I'm doing my master's in history in Berlin at Humboldt University. And I'm very happy to participate in this project and to bring a little bit, to broaden the international context even more and to bring a Lithuanian perspective to it.
Who wants to be next? Maybe Alexandra?
Hello everyone, I'm Alexandra. I'm from Vienna, from Austria, and I study Slavic languages, and I'm very glad that I can participate in this project.
Thank you very much. Who else? Maybe Gleb?
Hello everyone, my name's Gleb. I'm from Minsk, Belarus, but now I'm studying in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Okay, thank you very much. What about the others?
Good day, my name is Antonina, I am from Minsk, and I'm studying in Vilnius in Üşük as a program European Heritage.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonia. Anybody else? You're a bit shy, I guess. So, but to kick off the discussion, I would like all of you to think or to come up with one word to answer the following question. What was your impression when you first visited an extermination site? Please just describe it in one word. I know it's hard, but I think you can do that.
Questions.
I'm sorry?
Questions.
You had a lot of questions.
Questions, yeah.
Yeah.
One word. So.
Okay. Antonia, do you have one word?
I was amazed at the amount of silence.
So is it silence then? Is your word silence?
Yes.
Okay.
My word will be intense. Intense.
Intense? Okay.
For me, it was very thrilling.
Thrilling. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I've got one question to all of you, all the participants of this meeting. Why do you think, why is it so important to be committed to remembrance culture? Why do we have to do, why do we have to work on that issue, on this topic?
But never again people are able to blame certain bad things that happen to a special, to a nationality or to certain people, and that we are aware of the fact what happened in the past, that we have a peaceful future.
Yes, I would like to share a small story.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the Russian TV channels, there was a quiz TV show. The people need to answer some questions. And one of the question was, what is the Holocaust? And there was two young girls, and they think a lot. They didn't know what exactly it is. And their final answer was, it is a wallpaper paste. And it was a very big scandal about it. And I think people need to know about it a lot because we didn't want to repeat it again.
How did you feel back then when you heard that?
I think I was very annoying. I thought that it's a thing that all people know. And it's I was very upset about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got another question. Why is it so important that maybe if we want to raise awareness to young people, that young people from different countries work together, for example, in workshops, in online meetings? Why is that so important? What do you guess? What do you think?
Maybe if I may jump in, I'm sorry for taking the word. A very warm welcome again to Ambassador Kushla, Roberta, Alexandra, Gleb, and Antonina. Very pleased to have you here on the digital panel, so to speak. Speaking first of all on behalf of the Foundation EVZ, obviously for us it was extremely important to bring together really young people from different national backgrounds, also from different family biographical backgrounds as well. And one more thing was very important to us. You know, we speak in education, we speak about the 3 educators. So the first educator are the people, obviously. So those teaching history. The second educators are, well, our material, the books, the digital tools that we might develop. And then the third educator is the place, the sites, the physical spaces. So for us, it was very, very important to bring all those 3 educators, if you will, together, because having young people's encounters at historical sites does something to them. It feeds back to them. It's hopefully, and as some of them pointed out already, it does something physically to you, to your senses, to your emotions. And so this is why we think at the Foundation EWZ and are very, very thankful for the funding and the support of the German Federal Foreign Office for having initiated and thought up that program. So this is why we do that, and now I'm of course very, very interested in learning more about those who are just about to visit Malyj Trostenez, or those who have already been there, as I know some of you have.
Thank you very much. I also have a question to Michaela Küchler, the ambassador. She's the German Foreign Office's Special Commissioner for Relations with Jewish Organizations for Holocaust Remembrance and for the fight against anti-Semitism. Hello. There is what we can observe here in Germany, especially, is that there's the anti-Semitism here is rising, and especially in the internet, on social media platforms. Do you think it's really important that we do remembrance culture with special digital tools, and why?
Well, good morning to everybody who is participating in this very important meeting, and good morning to everybody who's sitting at the screens to listen and to watch. Before I answer a question, I would first like to come back to the 2 questions you posed to the students who are with us today, and to play the major role, of course. I was very much surprised by the young lady, Roberta, who said she was, her impression when she visited for the first time an extermination camp was silence. And that is something that really struck me, because at the time when when these extermination camps were in use, they were all but silent. They were very loud. There was no silent moment ever. And there's a very good movie that shows this, the noise that was always there, which is Son of Saul, and which was co-financed by the Jewish Claims Conference. So the difference between what was the reality for those who had to stay in these camps and those who visit the memorial sites today is very striking. Secondly, why should we remember? Why should we have something like remembrance countries, culture? Well, I would say we should have remembrance cultures because we still feel the consequences of this period, of this 12-year period today. Survivors of the camps are still with us, and they can still report about their suffering, and we owe it to them not to forget. And secondly, I think we need to have remembrance culture because we need to immunize our societies against the threats of falling back into such behaviors. And in doing so, I think it is very important that we are aware of the fact, like the Austrian President van der Bellen said, that Auschwitz did not fall from the sky. It was not an event which happened between 1942 and 1945, just as, yeah, you know, starting on 1st of January and ending at the end of January 1945. But it was a process. It was a process that had its roots in a centuries-long anti-Semitism, which got stronger and stronger. I'm speaking about Germany now, which got stronger and stronger during already the Weimar Republic and during the Kaiserreich, during the Imperial Empire from 1871 on, and which was, and it was followed by a period of discrimination against Jews and also others like the Sinti and Roma, but started with the discrimination of the Jews. They were not allowed to go to sit to sit in a park or to go to school with their Christian neighbors or to use the same shops. These were tiny little steps in the beginning. Then followed discrimination, like they were not allowed to work anymore in public service, as doctors, as lawyers. They were excluded from society. They had to sell their belongings. They were forced into immigration. And at the same time, it was made difficult for them to emigrate. So it was a long process where everybody could have stood up and have said, no, I don't accept this, that my neighbor with whom I have been living for so many years is being treated like that. And this is what did not happen. And this is also, I would say, the big difference to what is happening today. We have this, well, almost flooding of the internet with anti-Semitic
commenters,
posts, yeah, commentars, posts. And what we experience now what we have been experiencing now for 2 or 3 years is that what is happening on the internet is sweeping into the real world. So people, which is a difference to before, people go out on the street, or they go out on the street and they have anti-Semitic commentaries also in real life, not only in the internet, and they show it openly, sometimes even with their full name. So that's a big difference, and that is why we have to show how this, we have to remember, and in remembering we have to show what a process that starts with something that puts us at unease, but is okay, yeah, what can you say, don't be so sensible, it's just a word. No, it's not just a word, it's something that can become stronger and stronger, and that is why we need to remember, and that is why also we need to fight anti-Semitism, and we need to do that both in the real world, but also, and there we do not have the best instruments yet, and we do have to fight it also in the internet, and we have to develop the instruments to do so. Thank you. That was a bit long, but
thank you very much, Michaela Küchler, for the really meaningful words. I've got a question: how can we achieve that? How can we fight this in the internet, on social media?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, and to everybody, actually.
Well, I think we have to develop something like an algorithm or so, which will be able to detect anti-Semitism very early, and also coded anti-Semitism. Firstly, and secondly, I think we would have to develop an algorithm which would block these anti-Semitic comments and put real historic facts against it. So we need to have a machine, a machine-controlled ban of anti-Semitism and also of Holocaust distortion on the internet, because that is something that has gone up as well. People who say, well, the Holocaust, it was not so important, it was not 6 million Jews, it was only 3 million. Honestly, I don't understand what that changes. So we have to fight these two phenomena, and I think we need algorithms for it, and we need the support of those who put the social media platforms to the use of the great public. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, and all the others. You better know them than I do.
So
I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
And if I may add, I absolutely subscribe to what was just said. The digital space has become a battleground, just as the streets have been in the past decades. So the digital space has become a contested field. So it is important, as was just pointed out, the infrastructure, so to speak, is important. But as is content and facts, the historical facts, despite the historical differences and different historical experiences, there are certain historical truths nonetheless. So it is important to convey those facts to the next generation, to the young learners, to learners in general, actually. And then the second step, after really having passed on content and knowledge, it is also important, we believe, to work on the strategies in communicating, in basically defending values, norms, but also decoding patterns of thinking that are out there, that are discriminating against minorities, that are discriminating against our Jewish fellow citizens, Sinti and Roma, and others. And so also what is important, not only the digital space, but there in particular is also language. And I couldn't agree more. When we do such programs of encounter and where learning is in the focus, it is important that there is a sense of danger. So we have not learned the lesson for all times. On the very contrary, we need to learn the lessons again and again and tell the story and tell the stories and pass them on. And so there is a sense of danger these days, unfortunately. We see a rise and a growing number of violence against Jewish people, against all kinds of minorities all over the world. In Germany, which is very alarming, but also in other countries of Europe and worldwide. So we need to be vigilant, and we very much hope for, especially the young participants, to really take on those roles, and they already did. They are part of the program. So if I may, I would ask the participants about their expectations that they have tied to participating in the program. Obviously, you have an open mind already. You have a notion that there is that these issues and these chapters of history are extremely important already. But what are your expectations, Roberta, Alexandra, Gleb, and Antonina, after you have completed the program? And what are you going to tell your peers, your friends, your family about the program?
If I may start, as I have already mentioned in the beginning, I'm from Lithuania, and in Lithuania, actually, we concentrate a lot on two Soviet occupations. And this is the reason why, so to say, the Holocaust and also our, so to say, victims of a Nazi regime in Lithuania are a little bit in the background. So I would like to change that in the future. And I would like to take from this project my experience. How can we commemorate actually the victims of the Nazi regime? And as I said, to bring it to Lithuania, to influence historical memory in Lithuania. And also for me, it is interesting how it is represented in Belarus, because I think it's always interesting to compare, so to say, the historical commemoration in different countries.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm expecting to hear a lot of stories of the people who were in Malyj Trostenez. What were their what was their knowledge? What was which isn't here anymore? What were their emotions when they were there? And yes, and also I'm looking forward to working with other young people in workshops and see certain topics from another perspective.
Thank you very much. Antonina?
Yes, as a Young People Remember program, it is important for me to learn how I can work with the heritage of violence in such ways that on the one hand, it doesn't defile it, and on the other hand, it interests and helps to reveal precisely the emotional side of the place through different forms. However, it is also very important for me to understand how to take into account the risks so that it doesn't turn out to be purely entertaining legacy or, on the contrary, provokes new violence.
Thank you very much. Gleb, do you want to add something to that?
Yes. I'm a person who likes to hear and tell different stories. I have a lot of Jewish friends, and they're very interested in this theme about Holocaust. And I would like to explore and share with my friends or just people some unknown stories about people and what exactly was where.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess all of you, or most of you, use Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, right? Yeah. Since you work on this project, when you read some comments on say, Instagram, do you react more sensitively? What do you think?
If I may, I'm so curious. I've brought so many questions with me. If I may, I would like to, while we explore the social media communication in a moment, if I may ask you. Some of you have been in Malyj Trostenez, and others, some of you will go there eventually. I would like to ask you. Do your national backgrounds, I mean, you have, some of you have Lithuanian, Austrian, Belarusian backgrounds. So what do you think? Do your national backgrounds matter when you will meet there and then exchange your views and thoughts? After all, you will be working on a common virtual guided tour through the memorial. So I'm curious to learn what perspective each one of you will bring into the process. Gleb, maybe since you said you like to tell stories, what story will you bring with you and maybe take away for your friends and family from this very, very special place, of course?
I can share a story about my family background. My anchors were in ghetto in Dokora, it's Minsk region. And there was a several ghetto, and this place very known, like there was born Chaim Sudin. It's like a Belarusian painter of parish school. And I think my anchors were maybe somehow know each other, and it's very interesting, like to know more and more about like my past and maybe about like my past connecting with my future.
And then one of you said when visiting for the first time a memorial that the one word that stuck with you was questions. So are you adding up questions to the questions, or are there also maybe at least some initial ideas or answers to those questions, given that they are so monstrous and so difficult to grasp? How are you viewing those questions, and how will you incorporate them maybe in your tour that you will be making?
I think it is very important to get as many factual information as possible and to educate yourself, to get arguments when people are trying to manipulate you or make you believe something that you have the knowledge. Yes.
Thank you.
May I ask an additional question? I'm very curious. You are interested in this subject of the Holocaust, but what about your peers in your school classes or in the classes at university? Are there other people who are interested in this subject? And if they are not interested, how do they react when you tell them, okay, I am participating in a project on the Holocaust, or I will go to Malyj Trostenez and work there at the memorial site? What is the reaction of your peers? Is it, oh, what a strange guy, what a strange girl? Or is it more with respect and, well, I couldn't do it. It would be too hard for me to bear what I see in extermination camps. Some reactions?
Like in my case, when I speak with my friends or people I know from Lithuania, and when I'm telling them about the projects that I'm taking part, because my studies in Germany has enabled me to take part on quite a lot of such projects. We are quite, so to say, surprised. I would say they have no idea what I'm doing there, because I don't know actually, is it a problem of Lithuania, or that in my country we don't have many such projects actually. That's why I'm telling that my studies in Germany, like it's maybe the third project that I'm a participant from Germany, and I can participate only because I live in Germany, so to say. But if I would live in Lithuania and study, I wouldn't have such possibility. So I would like actually to include even more countries in such projects, because often, not always, of like I participated in projects also by a Körber Stiftung, and we include also participants from all over the world actually. But there are some projects which are, so to say, concentrated only on several countries. And I would like to expand, actually, the more countries, the more people participate, the more we can, so to say, know about the Holocaust, because as it has already been told, no lessons actually can replace visiting the memorial places, but also replace communicating with people from other cultures. Because as we talked about the anti-Semitism and the comments in the internet, I think it's the symptom. It's like the symptom of anti-Semitism, and we have to fight not only the symptoms of that, but we have to fight the anti-Semitism itself, and to search for roots, and so to say, to liquidate that roots, we have to communicate with people. Only when we communicate with a different culture, we will, so to say, get the impression of the culture, and we won't, so to say, have a prejudice about that cultures.
I can answer briefly. When I talk with my friends about the project, they start to be interested in the topic, and they ask me questions. It arouses their respect and desire to understand the subject of Holocaust.
Thank you very much. I just want to add something to the viewers on YouTube. You're kindly invited to take part in this discussion. So if you have any questions, any comments, just leave it in the comment section, please. We will have a look on it and we will check on it. And yeah, thank you. Are there any other questions maybe? No? I'll check on my colleague if, oh yeah, Miriam, are there any questions on YouTube for us in the comment section?
Well, there is a question. Someone says, very interesting question by Michaela Küchler. Additionally, how easy or hard is it, especially for young people, to do remembrance work all over Europe? We heard about the internet, and but also the real world space. Maybe Antonia, Roberta, Alexandra, Gleb have some more answers to that.
Any ideas? Any answers?
Could you repeat the question?
Miriam, would you please repeat the question?
How easy or hard is it, especially for young people, to do remembrance work all over Europe? It can be something about time. It can be something about people understand you or don't understand you. Maybe one of you has an answer to that.
And if it's a hard question, I guess it's not. It's hard to answer, actually. I was thinking about that too, and I was like, "Oh, what would I answer?"
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of similar to my question that I had before. If you are on Instagram, for example, and I don't know, you read some anti-Semitic comments on a post or on a photo, how do you feel then? Do you hesitate to write something like, please don't say something like this, this is awful, or do you hesitate because you think it's a social media platform and there are a lot of crazy people?
I think it is very difficult to convince people who have a certain opinion that this is maybe not true, or that they should think from another perspective. And it's not so easy to answer such a post, maybe. Because maybe there are a lot of other comments which are the same opinion, and then one other opinion, I'm not sure if that has an impact.
What about Roberta? What do you think?
As I said, I don't think that actually to fight the symptoms is the best way, because as I said, it's like Corona now. It brings nothing, like if we just fight the symptoms, you know, but we don't have now a medicine which would fight the virus. We just fight the symptoms. So I think that like we don't need a censorship, but we have to educate people and see how that comments reduce themselves because of our efforts to change the education, as I said, to encourage meeting and our culture and so on. Because if I think it brings nothing if we just, so to say, block that people who write that comments, because we will find another, so to say, we experienced Holocaust when there was no internet. So we have to fight, so to say, the roots, not the symptoms.
But isn't that the influence of social media really enormous? Isn't it big, the influence on young people from those social media platforms? Everybody's checking on Instagram. Everybody's reading comments on Instagram. They post whatever they want to.
I don't have many such experience, so I don't know how many such comments are widespread, because I haven't noticed a lot of them, and especially in Germany, I have noticed that so to say, the new pages, for instance, on Facebook, we are already doing that we are reacting to the comments. And we are asking, so to say, to not to leave hateful comments and so on. So I think in Germany it's actually already fought. Like it's not, so to say, leave on itself, but when measures are already taken.
I think Miriam, you have a question for us.
Yeah, there's another question I've just seen by now. When and where can we best influence our youth to stand up to hate? How early in education? If we wait until students are older, is that too late? That's another question.
Well, I think it's a lifelong learning process. You have to start as early as a child is born, virtually, because the good example that you have to give your kids is to respect others, even if they are different, or especially when they are different. So, and that is not something you can teach them by words, but which you have to live yourself, and you have to show them. If there's somebody in the street who cannot walk properly, for instance, then and your 3-year-old child laughs at him because the child doesn't know yet that this could hurt another person. Then you have, as a parent or as an educator, you have to show respect for that person, because it's not the person's fault that it cannot walk properly. And so this is a lifelong exercise. It starts in early childhood and it never ends. I think we have to have, especially Holocaust education. Well, there are some experts who say not before 14 or 13. I think children are not allowed in Yad Vashem before the age of 13 or so. But teaching respect or living respect is something that can start very early. Holocaust remembrance, on the other hand, is something that should start in school, 13, 14 years maybe, and be continued at universities, in professional education. In Germany, we have some programs who go to prisons or in institutions where where young or even middle-aged adults work, and they speak about Holocaust and what we can learn from it.
And maybe importantly also to mention is that obviously it's not only a task and a mission for educators. It is basically something for the whole of the society. This is why the EBZ Foundation supports also civil society organizations. And you know, there is a saying, an African saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And so it takes a society basically to really reflect on the values that we cherish and is specifically in Europe. So it's a task, it's an endeavor, it's something that basically everyone is building. And I agree, it begins for moment one, and then specifically Holocaust, Shoah education, teaching about history, then basically shall be or should be interwoven basically in school life, in professional lives, and really based in every aspect also of our daily lives. And we see and hear maybe discriminatory language somewhere, and so there is always an opportunity to stand up.
I've got one last question myself, actually, because it's important what you said, Michaela Küchler. In Germany, some demand that students should be required to visit concentration camps as a part of their school curriculum. What do you all think about that? That idea or these demands?
I think it's very cool that people can just see, not to read about it, and see by eyes. And in our Belarusian schools, we have about only 1 or 2 lessons about Holocaust in our education program, and it's not too much to understand all these problem that there was.
I think it's a good idea, of course, but I would like actually that children would visit not only concentration camps but also other memorial sites. And by saying this, I mean also the memorial sites. We are not probably in Germany that there are not that much in Germany, I think, but from the Eastern Europe perspective, the communism was also an ideology which also, so to say, is guilty for deaths of thousands of millions of people. And this is actually the difference between the historical memory in Eastern Europe and in Western Europe. Since in Western Europe, personally, I miss, so to say, also the projects and also the a work which is, so to say, for commemoration of the victims who died, so to say, because of communism. And in Germany, it means those people who died under the in the Eastern Germany. And also, so to say, to bring the perspective of Eastern Europe closer, because in Germany, for instance, I think that Holodomor, which is a tragedy in the Ukraine, when millions of people died because they, so to say, also it was a famine which was, so to say, created by Stalin, is not a topic. And I think it's also important to bring various perspectives and to show that communism is not, so to say, a better way to how to say, to build the human history.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
In our history lessons, Holocaust was a big part, and we went with our school to Dachau, and I think that was a good thing that we did that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Unfortunately, our time is up, so we have to come to an end, and I want to thank you all very, very much for your commitment and for your impressive statements and inspiring outlooks on this important issue. Yeah, so again, thank you very much. Yeah, as you know, this particular event is now over, but the rest of this kickoff session will be continued in a bit. So I wish you all the best, take care and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and have good journeys. All the very best to you.